We really don't have Mizey for this game, huh? He didn't tell me he wasn't gonna be here. Damn it. All right. Uh, Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. John Scudras here. Fernando Burgos is the starting pitcher tonight here for Game 2 of the doubleheader. What a year he's had. 5-0 with a 2.25, 32 innings, 28 strikeouts, 14 walks for the Beacons right-handed starter. Here's the starting lineup for the visiting UMass Dartmouth Corsairs here in Game 2. Leading off, catching, Mitch Baker. Batting second, moving over to right field, Kenny Michael. The center fielder batting third, Nate Tellier. First base batting cleanup, Jose Vasquez. Designated hitter batting fifth will be Matt Curran. Batting sixth, playing shortstop, Eric Ramirez. Batting seventh, playing left field, Chris Wood. Batting eighth, playing third base, Mike Nell. And batting ninth, playing second, Josh O'Neill. Defensively, Beacons look like this, same as Game 1, at least the starting lineup. From right to left on the infield, Fowler, Murphy, Hughie, and Riley. From left to right in the outfield, Cesare, Pinellas, and Herzog, and your battery mates, Burgos and McCormick. It's about set for the opening pitch of Game 2. Beacons winning Game 1 2-1. Got narrow late in that game. No Matt Meisenbacher here for Game 2. He had better places to be, I suppose. Didn't even say bye, so very nice to him. Alyssa Fugel always has something to say. Here's the first pitch from Burgos, down and away to Baker. Mitch in Game 1, eventful day. He went 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. Here's the 1-0. That's right down the middle, 1 ball and 1 strike. Fernando, 5-0 on the season, winds and delivers the 1-1, and that ball is low, 2-1. Beacons now a sparkling 5-0 in the LEC compared to 0-5 for the Corsairs as Mitch Baker chops that one off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Burgos is ready. The 2-2 pitch. And that's low, 3-2. So after in Game 1, Baker led off with a walk. He has worked the count 3-2 here in Game 2. Fernando ready. The 3-2 pitch. Ground ball, third base. Riley gobbles it up, fires across the diamond in time to get Baker. And there's 1 down here in the top of the first inning. That'll bring up Kenny Michael. The right fielder, number 8, Kenny Michael. Michael has had himself a tough day. After getting 3 hits yesterday in their victory on Friday, Michael went 0 for 4 in Game 1. He grounded into a double play, was called for batter's interference on a pitch where he struck out. That's caused a base stealer to be called out. That ball is low, 1-0. He also grounded out to short and struck out. 2 strikeouts, batter interference, a double play, and a ground out. Here's the 1-0. That's also low, 2-0. One down, top half of the first inning here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network as that's popped up. Looks playable for Fowler, but he's got a long run. He's going to run out of room. As it goes into the Beacons dugout, 2-2 now. Excuse me, 2-1. The Beacons in game one. Fell behind 1-0 in the first as JT Moore struggled with his command. He settled down, went 7 further innings for 8 total. The remaining 7 after the first inning shutout. Ends up winning to improve to 3-1. From the windup, the 2-1 pitch. That one's fouled off the screen, and now it's 2-2 to Kenny Michael. The windup from Burgos, the 2-2 pitch, and swung on and missed. He struck him out. So Burgos gets his first K of the day, and what a day it's been for Michael. He's now 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts combined between the 2 games. And that brings up Nate Tellier, the center fielder. Number 6, Nate Tellier. Tellier came into play hitting .374. He was 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored, also stole 2 bases in game 1. From the windup, first pitch carves the inside corner. Nate didn't like it. It's 0-1. No 1 pitch coming, and there goes as it's 0-2 as Tellier swings. And Burgos continuing to deliver here in the first. Fernando gets his sign. The 0-2 pitch. Right back a middle, and Murphy diving to his right there. Going to say he caught it in the air, and the inning is over. So a good play from Murph. We are through 1/2 inning here from Monin Park in Boston, Massachusetts. It's no score, Beacons and Corsairs.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Ryan Brunning is the starting pitcher for the visiting Corsairs, 1-2 with a 2.96. Brunning on the year is going to be making his 4th start. He's got a complete game to go with that 1-2 record. In 24 1/3 innings, 21 hits, 13 runs, 8 of them earned, 17 Ks, and 7 bases on balls. Little Phil Collins blasting as we get set for the opening batter of the Beacons afternoon here in Game 2. It will be Eddie Riley. Eddie in Game 1 had an up-and-down affair. He was 0 for 2. He also had a successful bunt and a walk. Struck out twice. Came in hitting .329. Eddie, the third baseman today for the Beacons. First pitch from Brunning is on the outside corner with a fastball, 0-1. As time is called in the middle of Brunning's windup, he's not pleased. Back on the rubber, working quickly. The 0-1, another time called. He's working so quickly, the umpire and the battery mates can't get on the same page here. Back-to-back timeouts in the middle of the windup. Running back on, continuing to work swiftly. The 0-1 fouled off the screen, 0-2. Not the most auspicious start. Riley called time, and then the umpire called time because Riley wasn't even back in the batter's box when Brunning got his leg kick. Here's the 0-2. That's outside, 1-2. Same lineup as game one for your Brendan Agabrot's club. As here's the 1-2. Breaking ball high and away, 2-2. Riley, McCormick, Murphy, Fowler, Herzog, Budris, Cesare, who homered in game one, Pinellas, and Hughie, as that one is grounded up the line. That's a fair ball. Down the third base line as Eddie Riley gets his first hit of the doubleheader, as he will cruise standing into second with a leadoff double. So Eddie delivers here in the first inning after a couple of timeouts were called from behind the batter's box, and now man in scoring position for Ryan McCormick. Ryan 1 for 3 in game one. He singled, grounded out, struck out, walked, and scored a run. He also stole a base. He is now hitting .366. From the stretch, Brunning's first pitch, curveball, low. 1 ball and no strikes. Riley at second, the 1-0 is on the inside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1. Breaking ball, ground ball, second base. He gets the job done by advancing the runner over to third with less than 2 outs. So it's a ground out to second base. Riley to third base. And the first run of the ball game sits 90 feet away with Dave Murphy stepping on up. Dave today in game one I should say, was 0 for 2. Struck out twice, walked twice, and scored a run. First pitch to Murph off the outside corner, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Brunning is popped up, but it's going to reach the seats, I believe. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dave Murphy. Murph came into play hitting .385 with 10 bombs and 31 driven in. He is part of the middle of the order that includes Chris Fowler, that has 63 combined RBI this year. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball misses in, 2-1. Again, Riley's at third. He doubled down the third base line to begin the bottom of the first inning, then advanced over to third on a ground out to second by McCormick. Here's the 2-1. Up and in, 3-1 to Murphy, who is looking to get on base ahead of Chris Fowler. Now he's going to have a pitch to hit, you would think, with the go-ahead run at third base. Running from the stretch, the 3-1 pitch, and he didn't. Instead, he lost him with a breaking ball, and the Beacons are in business. Runners at the corners with 1 down for Chris Fowler. Fowler today in game one was 1 for 3. He singled and grounded out twice, also bunted in the 8th inning. Fowler, the left-handed hitter, with Riley at third and Murphy at first. Here's the first pitch from Brunning, and lifted into left field, and coming on in to make the play. They tag Riley, and then he goes back. He should have kept going. Probably would have been safe as the throw came in from left field high, as the throw in from Wood, who is starting here in game 2 after not playing in game 1. But that's a big, big out number 2, as Fowler is unable to drive in the first run. Brings up Nick Herzog. Nick, in game 1, went 0 for 2 with a walk and a hit by pitch. Came into play hitting .297 with 20 driven in. And the catcher, that being Baker, is going to give a few signals to the infield here. Brunning trying to tiptoe out of danger in the first. And a fake to third. Throw to first, it gets away! And coming on in to score is Eddie Riley on an error at first base, I believe on Vasquez. Goodness gracious. Brunning is inches away from getting out of this thing. They call a designed pickoff move. That was Baker making the call behind the dish, and it backfires exponentially. So that is how the cookie crumbles here, as that one is taken over the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. So an error on Vasquez, and it's 1-0 UMass Boston. That's high. 1 ball and 1 strike. The runner at first base remains Murphy. He couldn't advance, but Riley alertly came home, and the ball got through the wickets of the first baseman. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball lifted into deep left center field. Wood to his left. In his tracks makes the play to retire Herzog and retire the side. We head to the second inning. The Beacons needed a little help from the Corsairs to get the run in, but they do. 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error. We head to the second. It's 1-0 UMass Boston.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris. The subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Fernando Burgos back out there for the second as UMass Boston leads it 1-0. It will be 4, 5, and 6. Fernando set the Corsairs down in order to begin the second game of this doubleheader. Take a peek around the Little East Conference in a bit as we're getting the updates on that. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. Vasquez, Mac Curran, and Eric Ramirez. Curran, the only one of only 2 changes in the lineup here, outside of the starting pitcher for these Corsairs. Curran, DH, and Chris Wood in left field here in Game 2, as they replace Zach Courier and Pat Vartanian in the lineup. Here's the first pitch, as that's on the inside corner, 0-1 to Vasquez. Jose in Game 1 was 1 for 3, singled and stole a base in the first, lined out, walked, and popped out. Here's the 0-1. That's a breaking ball low. 1 ball and 1 strike to Vasquez. The 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, beautiful placement. 1 ball and 2 strikes. From the windup, Fernando's 1-2, chop foul. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes still. Crowding the plate is Vasquez from the right side, as the 1-2 is chopped foul again. Stays just that at 1-2. Boston Red Sox on their way to 12-2 over at Fenway Park. They are dominating the Orioles 9-2 in the 6th inning. I made the right decision of picking up Alex Cobb on my fantasy team. 7 earned runs in 3 2/3. As that one's chopped fair up the third base line. It was close. It juts off the wall. That's an easy double for Vasquez, as he is a leadoff double here in the 2nd inning. So first extra base hit of the day in either game for the Corsairs.
The designated hitter, number 32, Matt Curran.
for the Red Sox. Big days for Benintendi, Hanley Ramirez, and J.D. Martinez, all with multiple RBI. Fernando now facing off against Big Mac Curran, who finished the game in Game 1 by rounding out to second base with the go-ahead run in scoring position in the ninth inning. Pinch hitter, and he came in and grounded out on a 3-2 pitch. First pitch from Fernando is on the outside corner, 0-1. Softball team is playing at Eastern Connecticut State. Had a rough go of it in Game 1, losing 8-0 to the Warriors. Bottom of the second in Game 2, Beacon's softball team leading it 1-0. Men's lacrosse from just across the field is playing as well. This one's popped up by Kern, foul territory. Riley calls off his teammates and makes the play. One down on a foul out to third base. Staying at second base is Vasquez, and it'll bring up Eric Ramirez. Lacrosse currently leading it 2-1 over from James Cotter Field over East Con. Goals scored by Ned Parker and Joe Masseri. Burgos gets his sign from McCormick. Takes a peek over at second, comes home, and that's outside, 1-0. Fernando out of the stretch. The 1-0 to Ramirez. There goes the runner. He puts the brakes on halfway and heads back. It's not the worst idea to steal third with one out. The big no-no is to make the first or third out at third. You're just trying to get 90 feet away to score on a potential fly ball or ground out if you're doing that. Right now, though, it's 2-0 to Ramirez, the shortstop who, in Game 1, was hitless until the ninth inning when he singled to start a potential rally. This time he grounds to third. Riley makes the play and fires over to first. Fowler trying to get the runner going back to third, and just getting in time was Vasquez, who read that beautifully. 2 down. It's a dangerous play. As I said, the last thing you want to do is make the first or third out at third base, because you're already in scoring position at second, but Vasquez thought he could make it, and he just did. So 2 down, it'll bring up Chris Wood, the left fielder. Wood on the season is hitting .222 with 6 driven in. First pitch to him, and a good stop there on a short hop by McCormick. It's 1-0. That's an automatic out if they are. They're saying up here that they're batting out of order. Now, I had Wood ahead of Nell in what I wrote down. And this is Mike Nell batting right now. So what you want to wait until after the at-bat to do this. I've seen this in the majors a few times. You wait until after the at-bat, then you call him. So no matter what he does, if he hits a home run, assuming that we're correct, he's out. You don't do it now because then they can just make the change. You almost wouldn't have a hard time just walking him intentionally here, and then he's automatically out. If the Beacons coaching staff notices, somebody might want to go tell him. Boy, oh boy, talk about a brain cramp. Here's the 3-0 coming to Mike Nell, batting incorrectly. The umpire can't do anything until the opposing coach calls it out, and they usually would like to wait until after just in case a hit or anything does happen. There's the 3-1, as that's low ball 4. Now the Beacons should go out and mention something here. And now here he goes, Brendan Igervold. How about this? they're going to get Mike Nell called out, and so Nell should lead off. So Chris Wood is going to be the batter that's out, and then Nell should lead off next inning, assuming that this is correct. Boy, oh boy, it's not something you see every day, but we've seen it in the big leagues. Now we're seeing it here in collegiate athletics as well, as the home plate umpire is hearing it from Brendan Eigebrot. And so Wood will be retired without ever stepping up to the dish. And then Nell would lead off in the third inning, assuming that the umpires handle this correctly. And it looks like they're gonna. And so the inning is over as the Beacons come on in. How about that? They get a leadoff double, get the man over to third, and they literally figuratively shoot themselves in the foot, but literally get themselves out of a potential big inning. We'll be back in just a minute as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Still 1-0 UMass Boston. So the Corsairs have sank their own ship here in the second inning as we move to the bottom of the second, still 1-0 UMass. Dartmouth had a man at third base with 2 outs and could have had first and third, but the Beacons knew it all along. We knew it up here in the press box that Mike Nell was batting out of order. Now, the reason why is because in Game 1, Nell batted 6th, right behind Eric Ramirez. Now, in Game 2, Coach Prince moved him to 7th behind Chris Wood. And somebody forgot to tell Mike Nell. Or somebody didn't tell Chris Wood. Either way, somebody screwed up. You could have easily solved that during the at-bat by just fixing it, but they didn't. Now here we are, heading to the bottom of the second. Kyle Boudreaux leads things off. Kyle was the hero of Game 1, at least at the dish. He had the RBI single in the 8th inning that gave the Beacons their only lead en route to the 2-1 win. Way out in front of that breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Kyle came into play this afternoon, hitting .319, went 1 for 4 in Game 1. Double play, ground out, fly out, single, as that one's chopped to shortstop. Ramirez quickly with it, fires across the diamond for the out, 1 down. 6-3 on the putout, brings up Cesare, who had the big shot of Game 1. A solo blast, his first of the year to right field, made it 1-1. Up until that 4th inning blast, the Beacons were silenced offensively by Cronin, but Cronin gave up the home run, and the Beacons then end up winning it in the 8th against the bullpen, as that's on the inside corner, 0-1. Cesare was 1 for 3, also grounded out and had a deep fly ball to right. The 0-1, way out in front of another off-speed pitch, 0-2. We'll take a look around Beaconville in the top of the 3rd inning as the 0-2 pitch is inside and hits him. The last thing you want to do on an 0-2 count as he plunks the left-handed hitter Cesare, and Anthony is a 1-out base runner for Pinellas. Well, Anderson had a tough Game 1. As he went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts looking before being pulled. Pinellas awaits as that one almost is thrown away again by Brunning. Keep in mind, the Beacons only scored their first run in the first inning because the Corsairs threw the ball away on a pickoff attempt, as it's been a real bad news Bears first inning. Breaking ball right there, first 2 innings, I should say. Nothing in 1 to Pinellas. From the stretch. And another pickoff move. Late dive back and just getting back in time was Cesare as he blew a tire a little bit trying to get back, slipped a little, and was nearly gunned down. Brunning comes home. The 0-1 is a breaking ball that caught the corner, and so Wanderson Pinellas had a tough time with the umpires here today. He struck out twice, didn't like that call, and it's now 0-2. He squared around to bunt as well, which I think is going to be off here. Now it's 0-2 as he skies one a mile high and out to left field. Heads up on the lacrosse field. Ooh, that one almost got the Murphys over there at the scorer's table. And it goes right onto the lacrosse field. A ref picks it up. Good thing they noticed that. They'd be playing lacrosse with a baseball, and I don't think the goalies would like that too much. It's 0-2 now to Pinellas. Always amazed more people don't get hit over there, as the pickoff move is not in time. Gray Sky is out in left field as Pinellas gets called strike 3. It's a gray sky for him as well. He struck out all 3 times he's been up in this doubleheader, and all 3 times they've been looking. That is now the second out of the inning, and it brings up Charlie Hughie. Hughie in game 1 was 1 for 3, singled and struck out twice. Corsairs really could be in a much different position in this doubleheader. In game 1, they got the 1-0 lead against the starter JT Morin, and then really things just unraveled for them offensively. They couldn't do anything through the final 8 innings offensively until the 9th when they put 2 men on base with 1 out and 2 men in scoring position with 2 outs, and were unable to get the tying run home as they lost that game 2-1. And now here in game 2, a throwing error followed by a base running blunder, and that's where we are right now, 1-0, as this one's fouled out of play off the top of their dugout. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to Charlie Hughie. Eddie Riley waits on deck should Charlie reach. Stay tuned in the top of the 3rd inning. We'll do the LEC scoreboard, as my boss just let me know. Alyssa Fugel's the boss, as she says. As that one's on the inside corner, 1 and 2. I'm fine with that. She can make the decisions. I'll just talk. Brunning from the stretch takes a look over, comes home. The 1-2 breaking ball, that's popped up, and that's shallow at second base, gobbled up by O'Neill, and we are through 2 innings of play from Monin Park here in Boston, Massachusetts. The Beacons still clinging to a 1-run lead. It's 1-0 UMass Boston on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Beautiful sight line of Boston, Massachusetts in left field over the mini monster here from Monin Park. Let's take a look around the Little East Conference. Here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, you see on your screen, maybe, Last night in a doubleheader, Southern Maine swept the doubleheader against Westcott, 9-2 in Game 1, 7-0 in Game 2. I'll just tell you, today, a doubleheader between the Owls of Keene State and the Anchormen of Rhode Island College. Rick won Game 1, 8-4. Right now, top third, Game 2. It's 1-0 Keene State. And Amherst College pounded Eastern Connecticut State 10-4 from Amherst. Fernando Burgos back out there for the third inning. He'll face off against 8-9-1, and it'll be Mike Nell, rarely batting for the second consecutive batter. Of course, Nell walked, but was called out, so technically Chris Wood was called out, and the inning was over in the second inning because they batted out of order. So here is Nell. Deja vu all over again. The first pitch from Burgos gets away, 1-0. Beacons coming into play 8th overall in the D3 rankings. Dartmouth unranked. Beacons looking to stay undefeated in the conference. Of course, you saw Southern Maine. Looks like they may be on their way to another fantastic finish this year. They are right on the Beacons' heels at 5-1 in the conference. With the Beacons lost today, they'd be tied heading into their game on Tuesday right here at Monin Park. Here's the 2-0. Low ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes to Nell, who walked last at bat and now has a chance to do it all over again. Fernando having trouble with the 6'3" Mike Nell. That one right down the middle. 3 balls and a strike. Flags blowing to right field, towards right field, I should say, as that one, looked like it was inside. Nell thought so, but he got the call. Did Burgos? It's now full, 3-2. There's a 3-2 pitch, ground ball foul, third baseline. O'Neill's on deck, followed by the top of the order, Mitch Baker. I now agree with you, Alyssa. It is freezing in here. There's the 3-2. That one is low, ball 4. So the rarity, back-to-back walks to the same batter as Nell, who batted out of order last inning, walks again. And he's a leadoff base runner. That'll bring up Josh O'Neill. Josh in Game 1 was 0 for 3, grounded out twice and grounded into a fielder's choice. Hit .297 coming into play. So Nell's the leadoff runner. They take a look over at him, not in time. It is 4-3 EastCon now over from La Crosse as they've taken the lead as O'Neill bunts this foul, 0-1. Good idea to bunt here, get the tying run in scoring position for the top of the order. See if he can get it accomplished if they continue to keep it on with an 0-1 count. Fernando working from the stretch. We have time behind the dish. McCormick wants to get the right sign here as they think that O'Neill will be bunting again. And he does square around. Here comes the 0-1. Pulls it back. Good block there with the glove by McCormick. It's 1-1. Something you don't see nearly as much these days is the fake bunt slash move. But with Riley coming in very tight at third, it might not be a bad idea. O'Neill, though, does square around. Now he thought about pulling it back, puts it down, and fouls. So now 2 strikes as Fowler gobbles it up out there. And a 1-2 count coming to Josh O'Neill. Burgos back on the rubber. Let's see what they do here with O'Neill. Pickoff move not in time. Mitch Baker on deck, the leadoff hitter in this lineup. Fernando gets the sign, the 1-2. They don't bunt. It's a chopper. Third base. Riley short hop. Good play. Could have gone to second perhaps. Took the easy play at first. And it works just like a bunt would have for Josh O'Neill as he is retired 5-3 on the putout, advancing to second Mike Nell. So with one down, it'll bring up Mitch Baker. Baker's 0 for 1. He grounded out to third base to begin the game. In game 1, he had a single and a walk. 2 walks, in fact. First pitch to Mitch. Breaking ball in the outside corner. 0-1. It's 1-0 UMass Boston. Here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, I am John Skudras, bringing you game 2 of our doubleheader. The 0-1. Swung on and missed. Good pitch. 0-2. Beacons got their run in the first inning on a throwing error, or rather, they called it a fielding error, by the first baseman Vasquez. It was on a pickoff attempt, a fake to third, go to first, a design pickoff, and, well, they didn't orchestrate it by design, as that one is off the outside corner, 1-2. And then in the top of the second inning, with the tying run at third base and 2 outs, the Corsairs batted out of order to get themselves out of that inning. What do we have next? Here's the 1-2, popped up into right center field, deeper than initially thought. Back to squeeze it and make the play out there is Herzog. Tagging up, moving to third, the throw just a little bit up the line. And so advancing to third base is Mike Nell. That's 2 down, and it'll bring up Kenny Michael. So fly out to right field. And that brings up Kenny Michael. Michael's 0 for 1 here in game 2, as he and the Corsairs down 1-0 early. In game 1, they were up 1-0 early before squandering that lead. They came into play scorching hot, did UMass Dartmouth, certainly with the bats, as here's the first pitch on the inside corner to Kenny. It's 0-1. They had scored 27 runs in their previous 3 games, 8-4 against Johnson and Wales, a 13-12 eighth inning victory against Roger Williams, and a 6-5 win against Salem State. Is the 0-1. That's chopped foul. However, they have just 1 run through 11 innings so far, 11 2/3 innings so far today. Dartmouth has not been shut out yet this season, nor has UMass Boston. And that trend will continue since they're already up 1-0 here in the third inning. Fernando trying to get out of the third inning. The man at third base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball, ground ball, base hit up the middle, and Kenny Michael delivers. He had 3 hits in their win against Johnson and Wales yesterday. He had been hitless today, and he finally comes through with an RBI single. It's 1-1 here in the third inning. So Nell comes in to score for Mike. That is run number 12, putting him 5th on the team. For Kenny Michael, that is RBI number 7. Stepping up to the dish will be Nate Tellier. Tellier is 0 for 1. He lined out to second to end the first inning. Beacon's trying to keep this one tied after Dartmouth finally came through with runners in scoring position, a feat that has eluded them throughout most of this doubleheader. In game 1, they were hitless with runners in scoring position, were the Corsairs. It's 1-0 now to Tellier, who's got great wheels. Here's the 1-0, and that one's, way outside. Good snag there from McCormick. It's 2-0. Two-0 pitch, jam shot, second base. Murphy coming in, Fowler to his right, and Chris calls off Dave to make the play, and the inning is over. So the Corsairs do get back and tie this game. They score 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning, whole new game, 1-1, Beacons and Corsairs.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Beautiful view of James Cotter Field, where the lacrosse team is currently at halftime in a 4-3 deficit against Eastern Connecticut State. Here from Monin Park, we are headed to the bottom of the 3rd inning in a 1-1 game between Dartmouth and UMass Boston. Let's take a look around Beaconville. As you take a look there, the men's tennis team traveling to Rick for a 1 p.m. match. Track and field is at Matt Holyoke all day. Lacrosse, as I just mentioned, at halftime, 4-3 deficit against EastCon, and the softball team, Game 1 against EastCon at EastCon, 8-0 in Game 2 right now, bottom of the 3rd. They're tied up at 3. Bottom half of the 3rd inning for UMass Boston. Top of the order, Eddie Riley to start things out. Eddie doubled and scored back in the 1st inning to get the Beacons on the board. First pitch is curveball right there, but a little low as it's 1-0. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 error for UMass Dartmouth. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors for the Beacons as they batted through the lineup once. Here's the 1-0 to Riley, another breaking ball up and away, 2-0. Corsairs starters pitching backwards to a lot of these Beacons top of the order hitters today, starting them out with a couple of curveballs. When they're hitting their spots, it's lethal, as we saw with Cronin early on in Game 1, but then he started to lose control, and really in this game, Brunnings had evasive control for much of the day, as it's 3-0, and that one's right there, 3-1. The wind, which was blowing left to right, is now blowing in from right center field, so might cause some havoc on balls hit out there. Here's one hit shallow right field. Coming on to his right to make a basket catch was Kenny Michael. 1 away here in the 3rd inning. That'll bring up Ryan McCormick. He grounded out to second his first time up. Tell you what, Ryan's had a heck of a year. Hitting over 360 coming in, but that walk-up music could use a little work. Here's the first pitch to Ryan on the outside corner, 0-1. Wind up from Brunning, and the 0-1 drops low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Another breaking ball. Ryan swats at it, goes to the opposite way. It's a tough play for Wood. He won't get there, but it did trickle foul. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to McCormick. Dave Murphy waits on deck. Anyone reaches, Chris Fowler will step up here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. 1-1, Beacons and Corsairs. From the windup, Brunning with a 1-2. That's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And swung on and missed for the second out. So McCormick goes down. Brunning has settled down. He gave up a leadoff double to Riley, and then a walk on the 3rd batter. And since then, he's really done a good job against these Beacons hitters, as that is his second strikeout of the day. And it brings up Dave Murphy. It's 1-1 now to Murph, as a breaking ball's right there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brunning has now retired 4 straight, as the 1-2 is outside 2-2. The heart of this Beacons order came in absolutely on fire. They have been tempered a little bit. Here's the 2-2. That one's ripped for a base hit. Right as I say, broadcaster's curse or blessing in this case, as Murphy singles. Murph has now been on base both times. He singled and walked here in Game 2 after a Game 1 performance that saw him go 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Here's Chris Fowler. Fowler flew out to left field his first time up. He had a chance to drive in a run with a runner at third base, but was unable to do so. He leads the team with 32 RBI this year. In Game 1, he was 1 for 3 with a sacrifice and a single. Pitch home. Oh, way inside. Fowler has to do a little dance to get out of that one. 1-0. If UMass is able to win this game, they do advance or move on to 6-0 in the conference, which would put them a full game ahead of Southern Maine. Here's the 1-0 inside corner. They're playing Fowler to hit the opposite way, at least in center field, which he can do, but he's a pull hitter. As the 1-1 is not going to be coming as we get a pickoff move not in time. Again, Dave Murphy not swift of foot, yet they continue to be concerned about him stealing. Now with 2 outs and Fowler at the dish, I don't get it. Here's the 1-1, and Fowler jammed to first base, gobbled up, and the inning is over. You can tell he's disgusted as he didn't even drop the bat. We head to the 4th inning of play. It's still 1-1, Beacons and the Corsairs.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Fernando Burgos back out there for the top of the 4th inning. Gave up the tying run last inning as the Beacons and the Corsairs battle here in Game 2. Now, Jose Vasquez leads things off. It's 4, 5, and 6. Vasquez, Curran, and Ramirez. Vasquez 1 for 1. He doubled in the 2nd inning, but was stranded there on the batting out of order. The official failure, if you will, as right now it is 0-1. Fernando from the windup, the 0-1 pitch, as that one's grounded back up the middle. Gobbled up by Murphy at second, fired over to Fowler, and it's one down here in inning number 4. 4-3 on the putout. It brings up Big Mac Curran. And big is the emphasis. Mac Curran stands officially at a svelte 6'5", 250. Here's the first pitch to Curran. That's outside. UMass Boston trying to stay undefeated in the Little East Conference by completing a sweep. They got a bunch of big games coming up here. A doubleheader in the LEC next weekend against Keene State. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. But they have 2 games coming up against Southern Maine, their main competition for first place in the conference. One at home on Tuesday, another on the road a week from that. Here's a 2-0 coming from Burgos. That one's there, 2-1. From the windup, the 2-1 on the outside corner, or a little off it, I should say. 3-1. That will look good. The old Bob Euchre right down the middle for a ball, but that one was a little further outside. Here's a 3-1. Chop foul. Full count now to Big Mac. He's 0 for 1. He fouled out to third base his first time up. Here's a 3-2. Off the screen. Stays 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 down here in the 4th inning. Payoff pitch. That one's going to be skied out of play. Watch out, EastCon. It's headed right for their bench in the lacrosse game, and that's right onto the field. I'm paying more attention to that right. Nobody sees that ball. That's an ankle injury waiting to happen, but hopefully someone notices it. Right now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Curran, and the payoff pitch is skied foul again, and I think that's out of play again, and it will be as Curran continues to stay alive. Gray skies enveloping and illustrating the sight lines here, as UMass Boston and UMass Dartmouth battle. John Scudris here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network, joined by the usual suspects on the production side of things. 3-2 is jam shot, and that's a base hit to left field. Curran just uses every bit of that 250-pound frame to muscle it into left and lumbers all the way to second for a 1-out double. And so, it's the second double of the game for the Corsairs, and they have another 1-out base runner, and it'll bring up Eric Ramirez.
The shortstop, number 3, Eric Ramirez.
Beacons thought maybe that Curran didn't touch first base. Burgos threw it over to Fowler, but nothing there. In the bottom half of this inning, it'll be Herzog, Budris, and Cesare. And they do it again, and the umpire again says, no, he's safe. 1 down, top half of the 4th inning. Eric Ramirez steps in. Eric grounded out to third his first time up. As takes a mighty hack at that one. Fouled back, 0-1. Burgos back on the rubber. It's 0-1 to Ramirez. Go-ahead run in scoring position. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball foul. 0-2 now to Eric Ramirez. Game 1 of this doubleheader took about 2 hours and 35 minutes or so. Amazing that these Beacons games take that long. I mean, an MLB game takes, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. That one lifted into right field. Herzog hardly has to move, and Curran would be unwise to try to test him. So 2 down here in the 4th inning on a fly out to right. And it should bring up Chris Wood. Of course, the last time, Mike Nell stepped up and got his team thrown out of the inning. But it is this time the left-handed batter, Chris Wood, who's going to be making his first real at-bat. Officially, he's 0 for 1. See if Wood can make up for the blunder.
The left fielder, number 14, Chris Wood.
Wood, a junior out of Berkeley, Massachusetts, 5'9", 180. First pitch from Fernando is low and in, 1-0. Just taking a look at Dartmouth, obviously, being a state school, they do have a majority of Massachusetts residents, though New York natives, California natives. Dan Perez, who hails from Quebradillas, Puerto Rico, in the Carlos Beltran Baseball Academy. Apologies if I butchered that. And Nate Stewart, who's a freshman from Noonan, Georgia. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball way behind that one was Wood. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, by comparison, UMass Boston has Wanderson Penales, who's from Bani, Dominican Republic. And nobody else from outside the United States. There's the 1-2. Fouled up the third baseline. Noah Mader from Austin, Texas. I guess Luke Pilat from Portland, Oregon probably had the longest commute. Fernando gets the sign from McCormick. The 1-2. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. So Burgos gives up a 1-out double. And for the second time in the last 3 innings, he strands an extra base hit. We head to the bottom of the 4th. It's still 1-1, Beacons and the Corsairs.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
The Beacons have a couple of home games coming up. You just see there. It'll be against Southern Maine here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, followed by a home match up against Salem State at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, and then still at home, a doubleheader next week, a week from today, against the Owls of Keene State. Ryan Brunning's still out there for the visiting Corsairs. He has been pretty solid since the first inning when he did allow a run. It's 1-1. As he'll face 5, 6, and 7. Herzog, Budris, and Cesare. In the 3rd inning, Beacons got a 2-out single from Murphy, but Fowler grounded out to first base. 1 run on 3 hits, 1 error for Dartmouth, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors for the Beacons. Here is Herzog. Nick's 0 for 1. He flew out to left field to end the 1st inning. Anyone reaches, Penales will step in. From the windup, Brunning's first pitch to Nick. Breaking ball right there, 0-1. Wind is really now blowing in from center field. Those flags cascading through the air. The 0-1, ground ball through the hole, a base hit. Good piece of hitting there for Herzog as he gets the inning started on the right foot. It's a leadoff base runner. Second inning in the first four, the Beacons have had a leadoff runner. That brings up Boudris. Kyle's 0 for 1. Of course, had the game-winning RBI in Game 1.
The designated hitter, number 15, Kyle Boudris.
That wide open stance from the left-handed batter's box as Brunning works quickly. Breaking ball right there, 0-1. From the stretch, pickoff move, and it's thrown away again. Another error on a pickoff attempt. First it was Vasquez unable to catch it. This time it's thrown away by Brunning, who clearly is unhappy with himself. First the Beacons get a run because of a pickoff attempt. Now they get a runner in scoring position as the Corsairs continue to shoot themselves in the foot here. So the runner moves up on the error by Brunning, E1. The fans are just as cold as all of us from the looks of it. It was almost 60 degrees at the start of Game 1, and as New England goes, it is now probably in the 40s, I would think. 47 degrees as the Beacons cooling off the temperatures, but trying to stay hot at the dish as that's swatted the opposite way by Boudris. Wood to his right makes the play, and heading back to second is Herzog. One down. And here is Anthony Cesare, who walks up to Gangsta Paradise. I don't even think he was alive when that was released. Doesn't give his birth dates. So some vintage hip-hop here from Anthony, who will look to thump one out again, although with the wind blowing in, that's going to be a much more difficult task as Brunning has a wild pitch. No, they're going to say it hit him. So Cesare is hit for the second straight at bat. Now that's almost a break for Dartmouth, because if it was a wild pitch, you would have had Herzog move to third, but he has to go back to second because it's a dead ball. Cesare is hit by his second pitch today. And so runners at first and second with one down for a pinch hitter. It's going to be, is that Joey Rogers again for the second straight day? It is. So Rogers will replace Pinellas, and it's a forgettable afternoon for Wanderson. He struck out twice looking in Game 1 before being replaced by Joey, and he struck out once looking in Game 2 before being replaced by Joey. So Rogers steps in Game 1. After coming in for Pinellas, Rogers walked in his only at-bat.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for Wanderson Pinellas, number 9, Joey Rogers.
Left-handed hitter Rogers here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And pickoff move to second, not in time, as Herzog gets under Ramirez's tag. Brunning from the stretch. First pitch is on the inside corner. It's 0-1 to Joey Rogers. In Game 1, JT Morin pitched 8 brilliant innings, allowing just 1 run to get his third victory of the season. Bobby Tramandozzi pitched the 9th for his 5th save. That one chopped the 3rd. Nell fires across the diamond to get Rogers, 2 down. The runners advance, and so with 2 down, that'll bring up Charlie Hugie. Charlie's 0 for 1 in Game 2, popped out to second.
shortstop number 29, Charlie Hughie.
Charlie, a native of Sandy Hook, Connecticut. As first pitch is a curveball for a strike. Runner at third, Herzog. The runner at second, Cesare. Here's the 0-1. Inside corner, 0-2 to Charlie. At the very least, the Beacons will turn the lineup over for the 5th inning, with Riley leading off if Charlie cannot turn this at bat around. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball, back up the middle. Ramirez to his left. Good effort by Ramirez as he throws out Hughie. Looked good, but it was slowed up by the mound, and Ramirez moves well to make the play. So we get no runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. We head to the 5th inning. It's still 1-1, Beacons and Dartmouth.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Fernando Burgos back out there for the 5th inning as he has pitched well. He gave up 1 run in the 3rd. Other than that, he and the Beacons have shut down Dartmouth despite allowing 3 hits. Now the Corsairs, this game has been a roller coaster ride for them. They really should be up by at least 1-0, maybe more. They got themselves into a pickle in the 2nd inning by batting out of order with a man at third base and 2 outs. In the 1st inning, they allowed the run when they threw a ball away on a pickoff attempt. They almost gave up another run last inning by throwing the ball away on a pickoff attempt. They've had twice in this game doubles with less than 2 outs that were stranded. So really, the Corsairs, if they go on to lose this game, are going to look back in disgust at how they let early runs slip through their fingers. Here's Burgos as he'll lead off against Nell. That one is called swinging strike. It's 0-1. Nell has had an eventful day in his own right. Ended the 2nd inning by batting out of order, even though he walked. Began the 3rd inning by walking and scoring, and now he's behind 0-2 in the count here in the 5th. Mike, the third baseman for these Corsairs. Here's the 0-2, and that's low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fernando looking to improve to 6-0 on the campaign. He and JT Morin, if they both get victories today, will be a combined 8-1. The 1-2. Ground ball softly hit, but luckily for Riley, it was off of the foot of Nell. Unluckily for Mike, he's going to have to walk that off. Things not going so well heading into the 4th quarter for the lacrosse team as they are trailing 6-3. Here's the 1-2. In the dirt, good block by McCormick, though with no one on. It's purely cosmetic. 2 balls and 2 strikes. From the windup, Fernando's 2-2, ripped for a base hit to left field. So despite the brain cramp in the 2nd inning, Nell's been successful. He's reached base in his 2 official at-bats. And a leadoff base runner for O'Neill. We'll see if they decide to put the bunt on for Josh again. They did just that in the 3rd inning, but were unable to get it down. Folks, remember, if you want to stay up to date with Beacons Athletics, check out beaconsathletics.com or download the Go Beacons app on your mobile device. Updated live stats and video, as this one is a bunt by O'Neill. They do bunt. Burgos throws him out. 1-3 on the putout. And advancing over to second is Mike Nell. You can also check out Beacons Athletics on every social media, well, most social media avenues. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Right now, the softball team is in danger of being swept by EastCon. Down in the Nutmeg State, as that's on the outside corner, 0-1. This is Mitch Baker, who is 0 for 2. He flew out and grounded out. They lost 8-0 in Game 1, now trailing 5-3 in the top of the 6th of Game 2. 0-1, ground ball foul. It's 0-2 to Mitch Baker. In Game 2, Kelly Danahy, 2 for 3. Phenomenal freshman for the Beacon softball team. Roxy Vento is 2 for 2, despite the fact they trail 5-3. Fernando from the stretch. The 0-2 pitch. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fernando gets the sign from McCormick. The 1-2. Ground ball foul. Stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner at second base is Nell. 1 down. Here's the 1-2 to Baker. Good block from McCormick. Finally starting to feel the heat permeating here in the press box. Welcome edition. Fernando feeling the heat on the mound right now with the go-ahead run 180 feet away. Here's the 2-2 as that's chopped foul. Still 2-2. Burgos ready. Here's another 2-2 pitch, and that one's launched into left field. Deep and on his horse is Rogers. That one is gone for a 2-run home run for Mitch Baker. You can write it a postcard because it is out of here. And just like that, the Dartmouth Corsairs have taken a 3-1 lead. For Baker, that's his 2nd homer of the year, his 12th and 13th RBI, and they break out the banana. No idea what that's all about. Anthony Searles said it's something that's been spreading around baseball in general. I myself am more of an orange guy. It's now 0-1 to Kenny Michael. That was a gargantuan shot over the monster and left. 2nd homer of the year for Baker. And just like that, 3 unanswered for the Corsairs. Here's the 0-1. Outside. From the windup, Fernando's 1-1 is fouled up and out of play. It's 1-2. 1-2 pitch from the Beacons right-hander and another foul ball as the dugout for the Corsairs suddenly rousing with confidence after what was really 12 innings of mediocrity from them, especially offensively. They've turned it around as this one is low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kenny Michael. Beacons do have the top of the order, though, in the 5th inning. So after the crooked number thrown up by Dartmouth, we'll see if the Beacons can come back as that's off the screen. There is somebody throwing in the Dartmouth bullpen, though it's probable that's just getting some work in. Here's the 2-2. And that's jammed foul, again out of play, as Kenny Michael continuing to stay alive here in the 5th inning. Beacons had a 1-0 lead after 1. They have since given up 3 unanswered. Fernando with a 2-2, breaking ball, ground ball, shortstop. Hugie on a tough hop makes the play, and that's the second out of the inning, 6-3. Brings up the speedy Nate Tellier. Tellier's 0 for 2. He lined out and popped out. First pitch to Tellier is a slider on the outside corner, 0-1. Fernando's 0-1 pitch, another breaking ball, outside and low. With a win, Dartmouth, granted a lot of time left, but would improve to 1-5. They had such a great non-conference schedule. They were 14-4 in non-conference play so far this year. Now they are 0-5 in conference play as the breaking ball missed outside 2-1. Still ahead of WestCon, who is 0-6. They are off this weekend. Dartmouth was picked to finish 3rd in this conference in the preseason poll behind UMass Boston and Southern Maine and tied with EastCon. Here's a 2-1 on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tellier. Rhode Island College got the win in Game 1 of their doubleheader against Keene, but they are losing in Game 2. They are 4-1 right now in the conference. So the Beacons, no matter what happens in this game, as that one is inside 3-2 with 2 outs, are going to be in first place in the LEC. At worst, they can be tied with Southern Maine, who swept the doubleheader yesterday at 5-1, but with a better non-conference record, the Beacons right now would be in first as that 3-2 fastball misses low. Fernando didn't like it. It's ball 4 as a 2-out base runner for Jose Vasquez. After this one, Dartmouth heads further onto the road. Quite a road trip it is. They have 8 consecutive road games over the next week, beginning with this UMass Boston doubleheader. They then go 2 Tufts on Monday. On Tuesday, that's a doubleheader, by the way, on Monday against Tufts. Then on Tuesday, they're at Rick. On Thursday, they're at Western New England. And then on Saturday, a doubleheader at WestCon, as that is swung on a miss, 0-1. So a lot of traveling on buses here for Dartmouth over the next week. Something they're certainly used to. They've only played 6 home games this year. Here's the 0-1. Runner starts and stops, and then the ball gets away. And advancing over to second will be Tellier. And another run is in scoring position with 2 down. Burgos continues to just look over at the dugout. Not sure what exactly he's aiming at there, but he looks over after every pitch for just a moment, so he's not like he's getting a sign or anything. Now he's ready to go as he's back on the rubber. It's 1-1 to Jose Vasquez. Vasquez is 1 for 2 today. Breaking ball fouled away, 1-2. He doubled in the second, grounded out in the fourth. He was a leadoff hitter in both of those innings. It's not exactly what you want your cleanup hitter to be, but that's just how good Fernando Burgos had been pitching. or how well he had been pitching, I should say. Beacons right now have an 9-game, learn to count, John. They have a 10-game winning streak after winning game 1 of the doubleheader. I got to count the doubleheaders. The Beacons have feasted on LEC opposition in doubleheaders. They swept the doubleheader against Eastcom by a combined 30-11 score, and then pounded Westcon 16-1 in a doubleheader. As that one's popped up, should get him out of the inning. Hughie's going to call Riley off and make the play to retire the side. And we are through 4.5 from Monin Park. A 2-run blast from Mitch Baker, his second of the year. He's given the Dartmouth Corsairs a 3-1 lead.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Beautiful view of gray sky over Boston. That's ominous but fitting as symbolism rears its head at Monin Park. Things went from sunny blue skies to gray skies for the Beacons as well, as right now they trail 3-1 after the 2-run blast from Baker. Eddie Riley leads things off the top of the order for UMass Boston. 5th inning. Eddie chops this one towards third. Tough play for Nell, and he won't get him as this ball gets away. I think Riley would have been safe anyway as he smartly gets just back to the bag. And so it's an infield single to begin the bottom half of the 5th inning. And at the very least, the Beacons now have the tying runs coming up in the form of their 3 best hitters this year, McCormick, Murphy, and Fowler. McCormick steps in. McCormick has struggled today, though. He's 0 for 2 in Game 2, grounded out and struck out. They ruled the previous ball that got by McCormick a wild pitch, though we had a bit of an off-air argument about whether it was a wild pitch or a pass ball. Anthony Searles, who used to catch, if you are a veteran listener of the Beacons Broadcasting Network for UMass Boston, probably the best defensive catcher I've seen on Beaconville in my 5 years here, and so I have to defer to him. He said pass ball, and so I will concur. Colleen Cohen said as well, though if it was a volleyball question, I would have deferred to her. Or a question about Chris Fowler. It's 0-1, breaking ball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two errors in this game for Dartmouth, and somehow they're avoiding any retribution for that, as there goes the runner, chopped over the mound. Tough play, Ramirez, and he has no play. And so just like that, back-to-back infield singles for the top of the order of Riley and McCormick, and that's exactly what you want for your 1-2 hitters ahead of the murderer's row of Murphy and Fowler. It will be Dave Murphy, who's had a solid day today. He struck out twice and walked twice in Game 1, but here in Game 2, he's got another walk and a single. Has yet to advance past first base, though. So Brunning all of a sudden into a bit of trouble here. Murphy squaring to bunt. He pulls it back. It's 1-0. I don't know about this. I don't like to question Coach Agerbrodt too much, but bunting with your 3-hole hitter who's got 10 bombs and 31 RBI is, well, I'll just say it's unorthodox. They're now up on the lip. I think they're going to take it off here. From the stretch, the 1-0, and they did, as that's on the outside corner, 1-1. At the very least, you got the third baseman to pinch in towards the lip of the grass so you could potentially blast one by him down the line. I understand wanting to put men in scoring position for Fowler, but at the same time, might as well give yourself 2 chances instead of just 1. Here's the 1-1, and Brunning instead looks back. Nobody covering second, so just a bluff. Beacon's trailing by 2, 3-1. 3 unanswered by Dartmouth as Murphy way out in front of that breaking ball. Beautiful pitch. He was expecting the heat. He got the hook, and it's 1-2. That was a heck of a blast by Baker with the wind blowing in last inning. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball, tough play, Ramirez. He's not going to get 2. He's not going to get anybody. It gets away. Coming on in to score is Riley, and UMass Boston is back within a run, and they have something cooking here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So the Beacons, with 3 infield singles, are all of a sudden in serious strike mode as they have a chance to deliver a big blow with Fowler. Now, they do have a meeting on the mound with all the infielders coming in to talk to Brunning. Chris Fowler will be up. Well, it's going to be Chris Fowler stepping in, left-handed hitter. Chris is 0 for 2. He flew out to left and grounded out to first. Oddly enough, Chris Fowler and Ryan Brunning both went to Barnstable High School. First pitch to Fowler's up and away. So these are 2 people who are quite aware of each other, quite familiar with how each other play. That's probably why Fowler's had a little bit of trouble here in the first 2 at-bats. We'll see if he can turn things around here with a 1-0 count. The runner at second base is McCormick. The runner at first, Murphy. Here's the 1-0. As Chris takes it high and away, 2 balls and no strikes. And now we have a timeout as Baker, who homered last half inning, will deliver some signals. From the stretch, the 2-0 pitch, way outside, 3-0 to Chris Fowler. They called that a strike? Goodness gracious. That is unbelievable. That was way outside, called a strike. I apologize. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. I saw Colleen Cohen throw her arms up. I'm like, why is she mad? Now I know why. Is that one they're going to call high. That looked like more of a strike to me, but it's 3-1. So now, a 3-1 count to Fowler. You'd think he'd have the green light. We'll see. From the stretch, the 3-1 pitch. Chris ground ball first base. Double play ball potentially. Off the glove of Ramirez. And the Corsairs continue to sink their own ship here in the 5th inning. This game is tied as McCormick comes in to score on the error by the infield here for UMass Dartmouth. Well, the Corsairs in this game. Boy, oh boy. 4 errors now.
The right fielder, number 34, Nick Herzog.
I'm assuming they're going to say E3. It is an error on Vasquez at first base. And that might do it now for Brunning, who was let down by his fielders today. He let himself down with a throwing error, but 3 fielding errors in this game have directly contributed to runs. And now with the score 3-3, it looks like this may just be a meeting on the mound. They do have 2 pitchers warming up in the bullpen, though, to the Dartmouth Corsairs. So Murphy is on second base. Fowler's at first. 2 runs are in, Riley and McCormick. And after Baker delivered a big bomb to left to give the Corsairs a 2-run lead, they bomb in the field, and the Beacons have retied it. It'll bring up Nick Herzog. Nicky is 1 for 2. He flew out to left and singled in the 4th inning, and more signals being delivered by Baker. So Brunning coming home with the first pitch. Fake bunt, and there's the fake bunt slash from Herzog, but he fouls it out of play. 0-1. The men's lacrosse team has lost to Eastern Connecticut State. Here's the 0-1. Curveball launched. Deep left field. That one on the track. That one is off the wall. 1 run will score. They will hold Fowler at third base on an RBI go-ahead double by Nick Herzog here in the 5th inning. Somebody get this Beacons lineup an ice pack as they are scorching hot. Thanks to 3 consecutive infield singles and an error, and the first well-hit ball of this inning, Nick Herzog. 1 hopping off the fence. So UMass leads it 4-3. It brings up Boudris, who's 0 for 2. He grounded out to short, and he flew out to left field as that one is up and away, 1-0. Single, 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 E3 double. And still nobody out here in the 5th inning as Brunning labors halfway through this game. It's up and away 2-0. The 2-0 pitch, and that's going to be extra bases here for Kyle, perhaps. That one drops between them. Boudris will hold up at first. The throw on in is late. 2 runs come in to score, Fowler and Herzog. And UMass Boston extends their lead to 6-3. They put up 5 runs. Still nobody out here in the 5th inning. It's a 2-run single for Kyle as UMass continues to build their lead halfway through this one. So Brunning, who had really done a good job through the first 4, really through the first 3. The Beacons had a chance in the 4th inning to do some damage, and they squandered it. They had the bases loaded in that inning. And now here in the 5th, they have driven in 5 runs. Squaring out to bunt is Cesare, and he gets it down. Good job by Anthony. Brunning underhands it to first. And there's 1 down here in the 5th inning. Wild line score so far for Cesare in this game. He hit a home run in Game 1. He has no official at-bats here in Game 2. He's been hit by a pitch twice and now sacrifice. Nothing wrong with that, as the runner at second base is Boudris, and Joey Rogers steps in. Joey takes it right down the middle, 0-1. Hughie waits on deck, then the top of the order, as the Beacons, barring a double play here, will have batted around here in the 5th. Brunning from the stretch. The 1-1 Curveball, way out in front of that one was Joey. It's 1-2. Boudreaux at second does not have great wheels, but unless it's scorched out to the outfield, he'll probably come home on a hit, as that one is inside. 2-2. Outfield playing medium deep for Bob Prince's Corsairs. From the stretch, the 2-2 coming from Brunning to Rogers, and that's outside. Rogers checked his swing. Did he go? No. Close, though. 3-2. The 3-2 pitch as Rogers checks his swing, made contact, stays 3 balls and 2 strikes. What a line score for Dartmouth. 3 runs, 5 hits, 4 errors. 6 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the Beacons. That's the difference in this game, the errors. As that swung on and missed for the strikeout, Rogers goes down. 2 down here in the 5th inning, and it'll bring up Hughie. Charlie's 0 for 2. He popped out to second, grounded out to shortstop. From the stretch, Brunning's first pitch, breaking ball, almost got him on the front elbow. It's 1-0. This inning began with an Eddie Riley infield single to third. Here's the 1-0. Off the screen, 1-1. From then on, McCormick hit an infield single up the middle, right over the mound. Murphy then hit a infield single to shortstop on a ball they tried to turn 2 on, but missed. And really, the throw would have been late anyway. The throwing error on the first baseman, Vasquez, on the Fowler at bat. Now a base hit up the middle. They'll wave Kyle Boudreaux home. Here he comes, the throw way up the line, and UMass Boston has taken a 7-3 lead with their 6th run of the 5th inning. An RBI single for Hughie, and Charlie Hustle as the Beacons up 7-3. After the throwing error that allowed 2 runs to score, a double from Herzog put runners at second and third. Boudreaux brought them both in with a single. Sacrifice bunt from Cesare moved Kyle over to second. The strikeout from Rogers, followed by the single that you just saw from Hughie. They batted around +1. Eddie Riley steps in. He began everything with the infield single to third. It's 1-0. This is a Beacons offense that was silenced for the most part in this game, as the 1-0 is on the outside corner, 1-1. They got a solo shot from Cesare in the 4th inning of game 1. And then in the 8th inning, got a run scored on an RBI base knock from Boudreaux. Some clutch hitting from Kyle here today. Brunning gets the sign. The 1-1 will have to wait. Pickoff move not in time. If I was a manager, this type of thing would drive me nuts. You've given up 6 runs on 6 hits and an error, and you care about what Charlie Hughie's doing over there. Just get the batter. That one fouled off the screen. It's 1-2. There's no reason to even care what Charlie Hughie does. Let him moonwalk over to second base for all you care. There's 2 outs. A 1-2, and Eddie takes it in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 is inside. A full count now with 2 outs, which means Charlie will be off with the pitch. There's the 3-2, and high, ball 4. So Riley advances on a base on balls. I'm amazed Brunning's still in this baseball game. They batted around against him. They've thrown 11 men to the dish in this inning, and I think appropriately so, that'll do it for the starting pitcher, Ryan Brunning. So the sophomore from Centerville, Massachusetts, is going to see his day come to an end. He had an unbelievable start to this game. He gave up the first inning run on an error by his first baseman. Since then, he was brilliant. But here in the 5th, things unraveled. We'll have a new pitcher in a moment. It's 7-3, UMass Boston.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
The new pitcher is going to be a appropriately named pitcher, a great name for a pitcher, Dean Strike. It's exactly what they need right now as Dean steps in, 1-0 with a 2.13. Strike on the year is making his 7th appearance. He started 1 game. He's 1-0 with that 2.13, 12 2/3, 13 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 12 strikeouts, and 4 walks. So number 29, Dean Strike, a native of North Kingstown, Rhode Island, standing 6'2", 190. He'll face off against McCormick. And with 2 outs here, the 11th man steps up as McCormick takes it inside corner, 0-1. It's been single, 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 error, double, single, sacrifice, bunt, strikeout, single, walk. All here in the 5th inning as that one's laced out to second. O'Neill gobbles it up, fires over to first, and mercifully so, the 5th inning has come to an end. The inning began with a 2-run blast from Baker, the catcher for the Corsairs. That gave UMass Dartmouth the lead, but the Beacons bounce back. 6 runs in the bottom half. They lead at 7-3.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town, UMass Boston. Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Joe McGuire is the new pitcher, right-hander from Peabody. Junior standing at 6'2", 200. McGuire is 0-1 with a 5.52 as it says on your screen. This will be his 11th appearance. 14 2/3, 10 hits, 9 earned runs, 8 walks, 8 strikeouts. So it has not been a banner junior year for Joe McGuire, but we'll hope that having a little bit of a cushion here helps, as he'll face off against 5, 6, and 7, beginning with Matt Curran. What an inning that was for UMass Boston, as they blew things a little bit open after trailing by 2 going in. They send 11 men to the dish. They get 5 singles, a double, an error, and a walk. And with it, have a 4-run lead at 7-3. So Curran steps in. He's 1 for 2. He doubled in his last at bat. He also fouled out to third base, as Curran steps into the left-handed batter's box. McGuire gets the sign. First pitch from Joe is on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 as the sun is gone. Nightfall is approaching as the Beacons look to sweep another double header in the LEC. That one is low. It's 1-1. Still 4 innings left in regulation of this one, as the 1-1 pitch is a curveball for a strike. It's 1-2. If you've stuck with us all afternoon, we appreciate it. It's been 5 hours of baseball and still at least an hour left as these Beacons continue their marathon doubleheader against the Dartmouth Corsairs. That one fouled towards the Beacons dugout. It's 1-2. Wires 1-2. Curran takes it the opposite way out of play. Watch out, folks, as people walking to their cars have to duck and cover. That was pretty funny. That woman, I haven't seen anybody run that fast in quite some time. There's the 1-2, as that one is laced up the middle, but right at Hughie on a humpback liner. It's 1 down. Eric Ramirez steps in. He's 0 for 2, ground out and a flyout. Ramirez still has the amazing accomplishment of having 0 walks in 2018, as the first pitch is on the outside corner. I'm still amazed when I look at it. Eric Ramirez has, after game 1, 26 strikeouts, 0 walks in what is now 102 plate appearances. You could literally throw this 10 feet in the air and this guy would swing. It's 0-2, and it's popped up. Shallow center coming on in, and then letting the shortstop Hughie take it was Rogers. 2 down. So Ramirez is retired, 2 down. And it brings up Chris Wood. If you're just joining us, a recap of the game so far. In the bottom of the first inning, the Beacons scored when a ball was thrown away with Eddie Riley at third base and Dave Murphy at first base, a pickoff attempt that went awry. That was an error on the first baseman, Vasquez. Top of the second inning, they had a runner at third base, did the Corsairs, with 2 outs. They batted out of order as Wood laces a base hit up the middle. It's a 2-out base runner. First hit of the day for Chris. Of course, Chris got the butt end of the stick there in that second inning as he was due up when Mike Nell stepped in for him and batted. That resulted in Wood being called out, so he's only had 2 at-bats. That's his first hit of the day. That ended up squandering a scoring opportunity in the second. Dartmouth then tied it in the third. They have since had 3 more errors, including one in the 5th inning. A 6-run 5th for the Beacons. after Mitch Baker hit a 2-run home run in the top of the 5th to give the Corsairs a 3-1 lead. Beacon sent 11 men to the batter's box in the bottom of the 5th inning, scored 6 runs, and lead by 4. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Mike Nell, who is 1 for 1. He singled and walked, and he scored twice. 2-0 is called high, 3-0. The 3-0, outside corner, 3-1. Here's a 3-1 from Joe. That one out of play. Full count with 2 outs, which means Wood will be off with the pitch. And the Beacons will try to get out of this one without any further damage. Three-2 is fouled behind the batter's box. Stays 3-2. There goes the runner. 3-2 lifted to left. It's playable. Moving to his right and making the play, nonchalantly I may add, was the left fielder, Sasuri. So we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Still 7-3, UMass Boston.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
All right, well, we are back here for the bottom of the 6th inning. They're playing hangman here in the press box, and Anthony Searles just delivered a gem. We have fun during 18-inning doubleheaders. That is for darn sure. Right now, the Beacons are having fun because they're up by 4. And Dave Murphy is leading things off. I had to get my act together because the Beacons batted around +2 last inning, so I had to make 2 little notes in each box. It's not easy to score baseball games. Well, actually, it really is, as long as you know the positions, though not many people do. As this one is grounded to shortstop, at least not many people who I talked to here, as that one is 6-3 on the putout. Lisa Fusial earlier today said, I have to learn the numbers for the positions. She did. Maybe Anthony could teach her those instead of giving her ridiculous hangman questions. Sort of got it. One down here in the 6th as Chris Fowler steps up. Chris today is 0 for 3. He flew out to left, grounded out to first, and reached on an error. He also scored in that inning, so there's some silver lining. The 0-1 is low, 1 ball and 1 strike. swung on and missed. It's 1-2. Strike is still out there, that being Dean Strike. Dean Strike has 2 strikes on Fowler. There's a tongue twister. The 1-2. Fowler swung on and missed. He struck out. 2 down here in the 6th inning, as Chris Fowler is now 0 for 4. Brings up Nick Herzog. Herzog is having a solid day today. He's 2 for 3, a double, a single, a fly out, and a run scored. Here's the first pitch outside, 1-0. Kyle Boudris is on deck should Nick reach for the 3rd time today. 1-0 pitch, swung on and fouled back, 1-1. One pitch is a breaking ball on the outside corner, 1-2. The lacrosse team lost to Eastern Connecticut State up the road 8-3. The softball team got swept in their doubleheader 8-0 and 9-5 to East Con. So everything's coming up Warriors today. It's out of play with that one, 1-2 to Herzog. UMass Boston looking to stay undefeated in the LEC. They'd be 6-0 with a win today, as that one is chopped foul. It's 1-2 to Herzog with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. 1-2 popped up. A mile high. O'Neal coming in and making the play to retire the side. So they go 1-2-3 here in the 6th. We head to the 7th. It's still 7-3. UMass Boston.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
Welcome back to the Beacons Broadcasting Network. John Scudras here in the broadcasting booth, and a special guest joining me here on the broadcast. Sports Information Director Dave Wahlberg here at UMass Boston. And Dave, good day so far if you're a Beacons fan for baseball, as they are on track, at least right now, to sweep a doubleheader against Dartmouth and improve to 6-0 in the LEC.
Yeah, that'll be the first time ever in school history they jump out to a 6-0. Especially against a good team like UMass Dartmouth, who every year it's a grinded out type of game between two really heated rivals. And to come away, and I was actually over at lacrosse, and I saw the 2-run homer that the Corsairs hit to go up 3-1, and then the very long bottom of the 5th inning that resulted in 6 runs. I mean, that's the things that the Beacons need to take advantage of. When a team makes a mistake, they need to make those teams regret it immediately. And with the 4 errors and 6 runs to show for it, that's what the Beacons are going to need to do for the remainder of the year if they're going to be the top team in New England.
Joe McGuire stays out there here for the top of the 7th inning. He will toil with 9-1-2, beginning with Josh O'Neal. O'Neal's 0 for 2. He grounded out both times. Beacons are going to increase their standing with a win today in the LEC. They saw Rhode Island College split a doubleheader with Keene State. 8-4 win for Rick in Game 1, a 4-2 loss for the Anchormen in Game 2. Rick is now 4-2 in the conference. So with EastCon, or rather Southern Maine, having played their doubleheader yesterday, the Beacons at the very least with a loss today would be tied with them. And, of course, those two teams play this week.
Yeah, that's going to be the series that really almost determines who the regular season champion is. If the Beacons can complete the sweep here today, even take 1 or 2 with Southern Maine, they're setting themselves up. They're putting a little bit more pressure on their backs.
As a ground ball to shortstop, fired over by Charlie Hugie, 1 down.
Yeah, they're going to put a little bit more pressure on themselves if they split a clean sweep of a Southern Maine, including a Saturday potential sweep and/or split. I mean, it's really the Beacon season to determine if they're going to host the LEC tournament or if they're going to go to Southern Maine and have to deal with the situation of playing a conference tournament with no lights on a field, or playing their home field, sleep in their own beds, and never have to worry about having games called due to darkness.
Beacons hosted the conference tournament a couple of years ago. That was a fun time.
Yeah, sure it was. Yeah, it was a blast.
For me, it was fun broadcasting all the games, random games with teams that are not UMass Boston. For Dave Wahlberg, it probably gave him quite a few nightmares.
Yeah, it was. I have to say, and after I got that tournament when I graduated from Eastern Connecticut, and I did a lot of the facilities and sports information stuff down there with Bob Malta and Scott Smith, and if it wasn't for those two, I don't think we would have been able to have a tournament that we had and the success that we had, and just knowing where things and people need to be at the exact time. So it really worked out well, and it was something that I was very proud of at the end, because a lot of the guys who play on this team work for me, and to give them a championship on their home field, I really wanted to. Obviously, the result wasn't there, but just give them the best championship we possibly could.
Mitch Baker, 2-2 count, laces that one to Charlie Hugie. And for the second straight batter, Charlie fires across the diamond to retire one of the Corsairs. That one a lot closer than I think Charlie anticipated. And 2 down here in the top of the 7th. That brings up Kenny Michael. Michael's 1 for 3. He's RBI single in the 3rd inning, struck out in the 1st, and grounded out in the 5th. Chris Fowler hasn't had himself a great day at the dish, but he was named the D3 National Player of the Week by NCBWA this week, and so another great year for him as this one's over the head of Rogers. He came in, he was forward back on his horse to make the running catch. Joey Rogers makes the play to retire the side. It's stretch time here from Monin Park. It's 7-3 UMass Boston.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
We head to the bottom half of the 7th inning from Monin Park as Dean Strike will remain out there for his 3rd inning of work. Beacons, meanwhile, are going to counter with 6, 7, and 8. Boudris, Cesare, and Rogers right now. What a day it's been for Kyle Boudris. Started out 0 for 3 in Game 1, then came in and got the game-winning RBI in the 8th inning. In this one, he had an RBI single as part of that 6-run 5th. Including a 2-run single, I should say. John Scudris along with Dave Wahlberg, and as Kyle steps into the batter's box, Dave, the Beacons on a good pace here. The softball team, which has had a pretty good year for them. They were swept in a doubleheader at EastCon today, but really a lot of promise, not only for the baseball team, which is top 10 in the country, but for that softball team as well. A lot of good young players. Yeah,
it's a team that's not graduating anybody. So that for Coach Ardagna, that is a huge thing. So you're going to take you're coming off a great year, and they say the hardest thing is to repeat as a champion, not necessarily win your first championship. So this year, I think the Beacons were very realistic about what their expectations were for 2018.
Fly out to center field by Boudris. Gobbling that one up out there is the center fielder Tellier, and there's 1 down. It'll bring up Anthony Cesare. Cesare has had himself a interesting day. He had the solo bomb in the game 1, and then a deep fly out as well in game 1. Here in game 2, hit by a pitch twice and a sacrifice bunt, so he really doesn't have any official at-bats right now.
Sometimes that's all you need to do. You don't always have to make contact to get things going. And again, like I said before, this team they'll use anything as a catalyst. And the second somebody reaches base is the second the dugout and the bullpen start getting rowdier and louder.
And just like that, he answers the broadcasting call with a single to left field, well hit. And that is a 1-out base runner for Joey Rogers. Rogers, we were saying, the end of last inning, made the play to end the inning. Great speed, a really underrated player. As we get a discussion here, may have a substitution. That might do it for Anthony Cesare. Just like in game 1, he's replaced here by Sal Frascino, getting a little more speed on the base paths.
Yeah, that's a offensive and defensive move. You're up 4 runs. It's a decently nothing comfortable you can even rest your hat on, and putting him on the bases helps maybe to get you an insurance run as a stealing threat, but then once they go in defensively, if he goes in defensively, I should say, you just increase the speed of your outfield tenfold.
Frascino at first base. Rogers in the left-handed batter's box. As Strike delivers a ball. It's 1-0. 3 runs on 6 hits, 4 errors so far for Dartmouth. 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors for Brendan Igabrot's Beacons as they see Strike awkwardly throw it to first. He threw it away. It's another error as he slipped on the mound. May have twisted his ankle as that one gets away, and Frascino moves up to second as the bad news gets worse here. It's now 5 errors as they almost have as many errors as hits do the Corsairs.
Yeah, he went to go for a simple toss to first, and his back foot just slipped out from under him. And I don't even think Sal really noticed it until the ball was just a few feet past the first baseman, and he took off. Nice jog down there. There was no throw at second base. No point in throwing into left field if the ball gets away from him. Like you said, the error is it's that quicksand mentality. Once one error happens, it just kind of, they keep coming and coming and coming. So it was smart to hold the ball as compared to trying to get an unnecessary out.
Way inside, it's 2-1 to Rogers. That's the 5th error overall, the 3rd error on a pickoff move, 2 on the pitchers, first one on Brunning, and then 1 on Vasquez in the very first inning that led to the Beacons' only run in those first 4 frames. Scored 6 in the 5th, and that's where we are now, as that one is grounded foul. It's 2-2 to Joey Rogers with Hughie on deck. Beacons in game 1 saw a back-and-forth affair. They took the lead late in the 8th inning on a Kyle Boudreaux RBI single, and then Bobby Tramandozzi got his 5th save of the year. As that one is chopped up the first base line, gobbled up by Vasquez. Takes to the bag himself. 2 down, moving over to third is Frascino, and that'll bring up Hughie. Tramandozzi got his 5th save of the year. There were runners at second and third with 2 outs when Matt Curran came in to pinch hit, grounded out to Murphy at second to end that game. JT Morin was outstanding in game 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really settled in after that first inning. I was down in the dugout taking some pictures, and guys were a little nervous, but in JT, he had the one bad inning in the first inning, gave up a run on really a fluke play that shouldn't even been occurred, then settled down. Each inning, you probably could have his pitch count diminished, thank you, easily by 4 or 5 pitches each inning, and sitting over there watching from lacrosse, he was solid. And then to have Bobby T overcome, and that honestly, second and third, there was an error on that play. It was great to see Bobby settle back in, and he didn't get frazzled, because come in another 4 weeks, if Bobby's getting frazzled in a safe situation, Beacons are in trouble. But for him to battle back when his defense wasn't there.
As this one's grounded up the first base line by Hughie for the 2nd straight batter, Vasquez retires it himself, and we head to the 8th inning. We are through 7 here from Monin Park. Just 6 defensive outs to go for UMass Boston. They lead at 7-3 on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there is a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
New pitcher on the mound for Brendan Igerbro's club as the Beacons send Ben Gottesman, the 5'10", 160 right-hander from Acton, to the mound. As Ben has had an up-and-down campaign, a 1-1 record and a 6.75 ERA. Dave, here in the 8th inning, he's expected to bridge the gap to the end of this ballgame.
Yeah, Ben is another guy who's really trying to work for innings. When he's on, he's on. He's got good control, nice breaking ball. And like you said, but the issue is it depends on what bend you're going to get. The temperatures drop drastically. He does have a some 4-run breathing room, but Ben needs to come out and immediately throw strikes. There's no reason for him to be fancy, no reason for him to do anything more than just get outs. He's got the defense behind them that's playing very well in this game. They've played very well all year, so use that to your advantage. He's not going to overpower you. He's just going to pitch for outs, and that's all the Beacons need with 6 outs left to go.
Number 1 in your programs, Ben Gottesman, the new right-handed pitcher. Ben will toil with the 3-hole hitter Nate Tellier. Tellier's 0 for 2 with a walk. He lined out and popped out, as he's a very speedy threat in the 3-hole of this lineup. Takes that one outside.
Yeah, Ben, again, we just talked about it. Ben's got to come out and throw strikes. He was trying to get that corner early, trying to see if he can get an opposite maybe weak hit off to the Fowler. Came back through that strike, and that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to pepper the knees. He's going to keep coming at you. He's going to he's going to look for the corners. He hardly ever tries to stay away from the middle of the plate as much as possible. And he likes to force those make batters ball hit off the hands at the edge of the bat, so that way it's an easy pickup for the infielders.
Same lineup out there from the last couple of innings for UMass Boston, as that 1-2 pitch is cut on and missed for the 3rd strike. So Gottesman comes out and does just what you're looking for, a 4-pitch strikeout of Nate Tellier, and there's 1 down.
Yeah, that was a interesting swing by Nate. He looked like he was trying to just make some contact with it, and really kind of he pulled off of it a little bit, and I mean that wasn't a really overpowering pitch, and just kind of just hung his head and said, "Yep, I'm gonna go back to the dugout now," and then comes right after the next batter.
It's 0-1 now to Vasquez. Jose, 1 for 3. He's been retired each of the last 2 times he's been up, doubled in the second. The 0-1 pitch is right down Broadway, 0-2 to Vasquez. Along with Dave Wahlberg, I'm John Skudras. Game 2 of a doubleheader. Beacons winning Game 1 2-1. They hope to triumph in Game 2, right now leading at 7-3. As cut on and misses, Vasquez gets away from McCormick. Going to have a tough play at first, and they're not going to get him, and it gets away! Vasquez smartly says, no, I'll hang out at first base down by 4 with 1 out. But that is not what you're looking for if you're Gottesman and McCormick.
Yeah, that's actually Harrington. I think he came in this top half of this inning.
Something we missed there. Harrington in for McCormick. And that shows that he just came in, as he immediately misses on that one.
Yeah, that was a great pitch, and he just couldn't wrestle it in. Almost had the throw at first. I think he overestimated how far the runner was down the baseline. I think if he just turned a little bit quicker, he had the guy at first pretty pretty easily, and then almost made a critical error and just skipping it into Fowler, which is what you never want to do. It's one thing if you can't get him, but if you're going to throw it with a purpose. We saw in game one how when you hesitate on a throw, how quickly it can end up in the outfield. And so I think Jack dodged a bullet on that one. They weren't really looking for two, nor were they really expecting the throw down. So now Ben needs to focus back down, get the batter, or induce the double play.
So the new battery mates then here in the 8th inning are Ben Gottesman and Jack Harrington. The 2-0 pitch just missed low and in, 3-0. Harrington, a junior, standing at 6'4", 220 from Barnstable. A transfer from Dartmouth, so playing against his former squad. The 3-0 right there, 3-1.
Yeah, I saw in the beginning of the game, Jack was saying hi to some of the former teammates, saying hi to a couple of the coaches. A lot of respect from what his work ethic was at when he was a Corsair, and it's translated a lot into him being a beacon too. He's really brought a lot of that team-first mentality. He's working for a spot on a team that's pretty deep veteran-wise.
So Gottesman has 2 strikeouts, but one of them was missed, and now 3rd strikeout of the inning as Curran goes down looking. Didn't like the call, but the 3rd strikeout of the inning for Gottesman, and still only 2 outs. When was the last, Seth Orensky, if you're listening, when was the last time a Beacons pitcher had 4 strikeouts in an inning? Let us know. It's possible here with Eric Ramirez stepping up. Ramirez has 28 strikeouts on the year and 0 walks, so I think the odds are more likely that he'll strike out than a walk. It's nothing in 1.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting statistic. I don't even know if that's ever been kept, actually.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'd be interested to see who actually keeps that statistic.
Certainly seen it happen at the big league level, but I don't know the last time we would have seen it here at D3. It's 0-1 from Gottesman to Ramirez. It's the 0-1 pitch, high, 1-1. He struck out Tallier swinging, Vasquez swinging, but the ball got away from Harrington, and Vasquez reached first, and then Curran looking. Here's the 1-1. Curveball, strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Eric Ramirez.
Yeah, I don't know what Eric's looking for. I mean, he practically put down on a tee for him. And I know Eric is a guy he's looking for that perfect pitch, and when he gets it. But he is a strikeout.
He got him. The 4th strikeout of the inning for Ben Gottesman. You say come in, throw strikes. Well, how about you accomplish something that doesn't happen too often, a 4 strikeout inning for the Beacons right-hander. Impressive stuff. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Still 7-3, UMass Boston.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go. What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people, it certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
New pitcher here for Dartmouth, Logan Maitland, a freshman right-hander from Tiverton, Rhode Island, standing 6'6", 166 pounds. Tall, lanky right-hander, as Logan Maitland is the new pitcher. Maitland on the year, 0-2 with a 3.77. He is making his 10th appearance in 2018.
Yeah, he's a guy that's obviously you can tell the Corsairs rely on a lot to fill in those innings. And down 4 runs, it's not necessarily he's in to pitch a quick inning to hopefully keep the momentum going, but I think he's just trying to make sure that the Beacons don't tack anything on in hopes of putting up 4 runs.
That one is skied into the air. It should be playable. Over to the dugout, but Vasquez runs out of room. As the Beacons dugout proves helpful to their cause, it's 0-1. This is Eddie Riley at the dish. Eddie on the day is 3 for 4, 2 singles, a double, and 2 runs. He also walked. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, Eddie's a guy who's really come on. I'm impressed by Eddie. I think he showed a lot of potential in last year's postseason tournaments, and he's a guy who I think is going to do some big things in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
He goes down on a check swing, and he went around on, and there's 1 down. That'll bring up the catcher, Jack Harrington. Harrington replaced Ryan McCormick in the field last inning. They look kind of similar. Tall, similar build. Of course, McCormick's been a real godsend this year for the Beacons behind the dish, as the 1-0 is on the inside corner, 1-1. For years, the Beacons were backstopped by Anthony Searles. He moved on here, and now the Beacons have turned to Ryan McCormick as Harrington calls timeout late. Anthony, known for his defensive prowess, as the 1-1 is on the outside corner. I think the strike zone has grown a little bit as we've gotten later in the day.
Wow. Okay. All right. We're moving things along. Okay. All right. I didn't know we were under a time constraint.
That one low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, it's funny. Let the kid hit. I mean, and so I guess we'll just.
That one is outside.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Similar placement to the last one, so I'm not sure anymore.
It's a long day of baseball.
It's 3 balls and 2 strikes now to Jack Harrington as the catcher swats this one off the screen. It certainly is, and like I said a couple innings ago, if you stuck around for all 5.5 hours here, you're a saint. We love you here on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. We are still here.
I know Jack Holleran over at UMass Dartmouth has been listening. He's been listening intently.
Oh, and Harrington is going to be listening to the sounds of boos from the crowd as he gets called out on strikes on a breaking ball. 2 down.
Yeah, that pitch was not there. I mean, simple as that. And again, I understand we're in the bottom of the 8th, but you know what? Don't take the bat away from the kid. He's coming in as a defensive substitution, getting his first hit of the day against a former team. Not that this umpire would know it, but there's no reason to be rushing something along that, like you said, has been 5.5 hours of just deep thought type of baseball.
1 ball and 1 strike to Murphy. Fowler on deck if Dave can reach. As the wind now shifting from moving from left to right to left, and then left to right again. Murphy grounds it to third. Nell fires across the diamond to retire the side, so the Beacons go down rather meekly here in the 8th inning. We head to the top of the 9th. Still 7-3 Beacons. Last chance for romance for the Corsairs, as they will send out 7, 8, and 9.
Chris Wood, Mike Nell.
And Ben Gottesman will be called on to finish this one off and go for a save as UMass Boston's right-hander will toil with 7, 8, 9. It'll begin with Chris Wood, who is 1 for 3. Now, granted, he's only come up to the disc twice, but if you're just joining us in the second inning with a man at third base and 2 outs, the Corsairs batted out of order. And
I thought that was a joke that was being played by my student workers doing the stats. The guy batted out of order. I'm like, where? Where did this occur? In softball? I'm at lacrosse, so where is this occurring?
Yep. Mike Nell came up in game. Well, the thing was, in game 1, Mike Nell batted 6th behind Ramirez. In game 2, they inserted Wood, and then Mike moved down to 7th, and they just forgot.
Oh, okay. Mental things. Long day.
The funny thing is, I watched a video a couple of days ago where this happened in the majors a couple of times over the last couple of years, and so I knew that the Beacons were just going to wait until the at-bat was over. They did. Nell walked, and then Brendan Eichenbrot went out to the home plate umpire, said, listen, look at this. This is incorrect, and they called him out.
Yeah.
So a tough break for the Corsairs. They've had quite a few of them today. 5 errors, that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a real bad news Bears affair here today for Dartmouth.
Yeah, and it's surprising because if this score holds, the Corsairs are 0-6, and they are not an 0-6 team. I don't know what that was. But, yeah, I mean, UMass Dartmouth is a team that has always been competitive in the LEC and in the LEC tournament. I mean, these two teams played each other 5 times last year. First round game, and then played them in the championship game. And so it shows that they're a team that easily can make some noise. But if you fall in an 0-6 hole in this conference especially, that is a very deep hole to dig out. And right now they'll be sitting even with Western Connecticut, and they're very much on the outside looking in, especially with Rhode Island College being a surprise team. Eastern Connecticut battled back from got swept by UMass Boston, came back, is now 2-2. Southern Maine, you can never take Southern Maine out of any equation. Ed Flaherty is too good of a coach to ever count his team out, ever. And Plymouth State is a team that's come on strong in the last couple of years. New coaching staff, and they have focused heavily on the recruiting standpoint, and they are really making some noise. And they'll be a team that's really going to, I bet you, see in the top 3 by the end of the season.
Gottesman's 3-2 pitch is laced the opposite way off of Riley's glove. Recovers nicely. Fires across the diamond. The stretch from Fowler, 1 down. As Wood is retired 5-3 on the putout. And that will bring up Mike Nell. And you said it. Right now, Dartmouth with the doubleheader sweep would be 0-6 in the conference, yet 14-10 overall. So in non-conference play, they have not had a lot of issues. Granted, the LEC, one of the more tougher conferences at this level. Now, EastCon and Plymouth State, their doubleheader postponed today. Do you know why that was?
Where was it? At Plymouth State?
Plymouth.
At Plymouth. It's got to be weather. I'm assuming or poor field conditions. It's the only reason why you can really can't. But what's interesting is, per the conference rule, is if your field is unplayable, you have to go to the other team's field to play that game. So either that tells me that both fields were unplayable because of precipitation, or it was too cold, or something occurred where I don't know. I'd be really interested to see what happened. But realistically, like what happened with Western Connecticut, they came here. They've come here a lot, but when we're supposed to play them down there, and so it's a situation again. And some of us, and I think we went from being the bad news Bears playing on whatever field we could to this Palace, and you're kind of like, at some point, everybody in New England's going to have to realize that turf is the only option with the way this weather's going.
That one is launched deep left by Nell. That's off the wall on 1 hop. Fired in, and they're going to hold Nell to a single on a ball that hit off the Lambert's Rainbow Market sign in left field.
Great play by Joey Rogers. Again, I think, and we were just talking about it earlier, who's the fastest outfielder we have, and I would put the speed, and you put Wanderson in that mix with Herzog and Joey Rogers and Sal. That's a quick outfield. That's a very quick outfield, and they are become experts of knowing how this wall, very much like playing the Green Monster at Fenway, how to play off the wall, how to play off the pads, and they're really good at limiting what should be extra base hits to singles.
It's 0-1 now to Josh O'Neill. O'Neill today 0 for 3 in game 2. Calls timeout, and it's granted to O'Neill. Beacons 2 outs away from improving to 6-0 in the Little East Conference to begin this campaign. What a start it would be.
Yeah, 6-0 LEC play, that is a huge feat. And when you think about undefeated conference records through the third series of the season, you think about some of the perennial powerhouses, the Holowati era of Eastern Connecticut, Ed Flaherty with Southern Maine. It's a feat that has really only been accomplished by some premier programs and by some premier coaches. And I think Coach Igerbro and the Beacons have really put themselves into that mix. The respect that this team is getting from across the board, from both New England Baseball Journal, the NEIBA, D3Baseball.com, ABC. I can go on and on and on with all the polls and the organizations that rank and vote and so on and so forth. And the talking with Coach Igerbro earlier in the year about some of the success of New England teams growing and how New England was kind of viewed as the redheaded stepchild, if you will, in terms of baseball, having not made the World Series for almost 2 straight years.
What a play by Fowler as the first baseman makes almost a Jim Edmonds type of play, running up towards the fence over there and makes the catch for the second out.
Yeah, I think the Beacons, getting back to it, the Beacons have established themselves, and even the LEC, I think, has really made a huge step forward again to becoming the premier baseball conference. If you look at the NEIB, just in New England, the Little East has the most teams above a 500 record than any other conference in New England, bar none. You really can't compete with it. And the success that all of the teams have had in non-conference play, like you touched on, I mean, this conference knows how to play baseball.
1-0's in the dirt. Good block from Harrington as the batter is Mitch Baker. 2-0 to Baker. Baker had the big fly in the 5th inning that at the time we thought had turned this game on its end. The Beacons and the Corsairs were tied at 1 going into that inning. Baker hits a 2-run blast over the monster and left. He's pumping his fists. The Corsairs dugout's beating him with a banana. It was really a shocker for starter Fernando Burgos, but after that, the Beacons put 6 runs up in the bottom of the 5th inning, and away she goes.
Yep, you can. If games could be ended on one swing, you know what, they would be. But the fact that again that 2-run home run came in the 5th, not the 8th, there's still plenty of breathing room. And UMass Boston, and I believe you did a couple of the early games when we got back from Florida. We were hemming and hawing about what happened to the bats, what happened to Beacons baseball, and since that week, and it was kind of a mental moment. They've turned it around. There is no counting them out, even in the 9th.
Yeah, well, no counting out the Corsairs perhaps either, because after Nell took second on defensive indifference, Baker works a walk, and now, if Michael can reach, the tying run would come up in the form of Nate Tellier. But first, Kenny Michael, with his team down 4, has to get on base. Kenny is 1 for 4, RBI single back in the 3rd inning, and now a meeting on the mound, almost the entire left side of the infield coming on in as well.
Yeah, this is just a Ben, relax. They're not going to, in this situation, you still have, the tying run is not even at the plate yet. Just get the out, work the infield. You got guys at every base now, so you got the force out at first, second, and third. Use that to your advantage. Don't try to do too much more than that. Let the guys turn the play that you need to turn like they did in Game 1. Dave Murphy was lined up perfectly, got the big crucial out, even with runners on second and third. Ball game. That's all you need to do.
First pitch coming to Michael, and Kenny takes it on the outside corner, 0-1. Runner at second base is Mike Nell. The runner at first, Mitch Baker. Beacons leading 7-3, scoring 6 runs in the 5th inning as they bat around +2, sending 11 men to the dish. That one low in that inning. Of course, they've been aided by 5 errors by UMass Dartmouth.
Yeah, Dartmouth has, and you know, it's unfortunate that they have the 5 errors against them, but Dartmouth has the pitching. I mean, they really, just shut down. I mean, he's a shutdown pitcher, and if something could just fall their way, with the pitching they have, they are an immediate threat.
It's 3-1 now to Kenny Michael, and one more ball. The tying run comes up here with 2 outs. Big pitch coming from Gottesman. A 3-1. Popped up foul. So now the runners will be off. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the biggest pitch of the evening, and the one that could end the evening, will ensue.
Yep.
The runner at second, Nell. The runner at first, Baker. The batter is Michael. Gottesman ready. There they go. The 3-2 pitch. Off the outside corner. Ball 4. And just like that, the tying run comes up to the plate in the form of 3-hole hitter Nate Tellier, the team's leading hitter at 375.
Yeah, that strike zone from the 8th inning did not carry to the 9th, that's for sure. I mean, you could have underhand tossed the ball to home plate in the 8th inning, and it was a strike. So it's this is interesting. So I think Coach Igerbrod gave Ben his chance.
That's it.
And that'll be it.
18 RBIs leads the team, 374 batting average as well for Nate Tellier, and he is going to have to duel, I believe, with the closer, Bobby Tramandozzi. We'll have his stats and the big pitches coming up when we come back. It's 7-3, UMass Boston in the top of the 9th inning. Well, they were hoping to get through Game 2 without having to use their closer, but Brendan Igerbrod sends in Bobby Tramandozzi here for the 9th inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded. It is a save situation, so Bobby looking for his 6th of the year. 2-0 with an 0.53 overall. He got the save in Game 1, though it was a bit of a white-knuckle variety as he allowed the go-ahead run to reach scoring position before finally getting a ground out from Curran.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Bobby, with the way Game 1 ended in terms of temperature-wise, it was cold, but it wasn't freezing. Now he just sat for 8 straight innings after pitching a very, very tightly contested first game. It'll be interesting to see how Bobby's arm bounces back. Again, if it was 68 all day and sunny, Bobby should be fine. But I mean, you're talking about stretching an arm, heating an arm, getting an arm going, then having him sit, and then immediately telling him 9 innings later, okay, you got to do the same thing all over again. I know Anthony Searles can probably attest to this. This is the worst case scenario when you're a catcher sitting there like, okay, what is this guy actually going to put over the plate?
I don't know how they do it, having sat for over 3 hours now, having to come back out with the bases loaded. Hopefully he can. Here's the first pitch to Tellier. And a curveball. Tellier lifts it to center field. Frashino in his tracks. And Sal makes the play to retire the side. So Bobby comes in, throws one breaking ball, and the ball game is over. 3 runs on 7 hits, 5 errors for the Corsairs. 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors for the Beacons as they win this one 7-3. Boy, oh boy, that was a white-knuckle affair again.
Yep. No, you know, I mean, there's nothing you can say. I mean, comes in, I think Ben could have probably closed it out, but Coach Igerbrod wasted no time going to the closer. Bobby did exactly what Bobby does. One pitch, got that out, ball game. He probably spent more time warming up than he did running to the hill, stepping on the hill, throwing that one pitch, and now ball game.
Absolutely. The Beacons win this one by the final of 7-3. They got the lead in that 5th inning where they send 11 men to the plate. They score 6 runs, and they hold on. The bullpen was outstanding, whether it be Gottesman or Tramandozzi. UMass Boston wins it by the final of 7-3. The win, I believe, will go to Burgos, who finished off that 5th inning. He should get the victory and improve to 6-0. The loss to the starter Brunning and the save to Tramandozzi. I'd like to thank the production crew on the Beacons Broadcasting Network. As always, producer Seth Arensky, our directors Alyssa Fusial and Anthony Searles. On replay, Anthony and Alyssa as well. Our camera operators Bree Kalushi, Sarah King, and Issa Breen. and our color commentator, Matt Meisenbacher and Dave Wahlberg. For everyone involved, I'm John Skudris. Good night, good luck, and good baseball. We'll see you next time right here on the Beacons broadcast.